Engineers World Congress 2023, Metro Detroit. I've came to this conference in the past and streamed it. Detroit, one of the major hubs, known Motor City, home of the Automobile Society of Automotive Engineers globally, is still headquartered in Metro Detroit. They've actually moved to the suburbs in Troy. So the annual conference is still here in Metro Detroit. So I just signed up for the Expo. So it's a conference and Expo, where the Expo has companies, information, test drives, latest exhibits of automobile technology, and companies with their tables like regular conferences, and mostly seminars and education. So I'm not an automotive engineer, so I didn't sign up for any of the educational seminars. So if you're in the automotive business, people from all over the world come, and they have all sorts of VPs of various companies globally, General Motors, Ford. I'm not sure if Tesla participates. It'll be interesting. I'll talk about that soon. Tesla, but most of the major global companies come to the conference. There's been I'll talk also about China and the relationships. Hey Jim, thanks for tuning in. So if you're in the automotive business and you want to keep up with the latest technology, best practices, training seminars, most of the companies, most of the people here are probably on business. Their companies are paying for them to be here, and they need for their employment to keep up with the latest technology and training and various things. So the Expo here is actually pretty weak. So unfortunately, Passover last week, I missed the Siemens conference. The Siemens conference would have been much more interesting at Ford Field. I've live streamed pictures multiple years from the Siemens conference, and that's fascinating. It's also training technology. Siemens puts it together with purposefully, and they don't spend money advertising, but they offer free training as a method to get people to buy their products. So a lot of the companies, they're technological. They have devices or pieces that your average person doesn't even know is a component and couldn't afford to buy. They're mostly for industrial use. So they don't spend money advertising, and the form of getting their name out there advertising is usually in the form of free conferences, free training, and so that looks like a Tesla. So the conference, this is mostly a conference. The Expo is rather limited, so there's not much here from the Expo. A handful of companies, mostly auto part suppliers. And, I'm going to see, I didn't do too much investigation or research beforehand. I just came by. The conference goes through Thursday, so if anyone's in Detroit, you could sign up for the Expo for free. So this is the Tesla Model Y casting, and this is probably the battery for the Tesla. So once I get my bearings, I'm gonna walk around, and I'm gonna ramble a little bit, and Tesla will be one of the subjects that I talk about. So this is probably the Tesla Model Y first generation 4680 battery cell on display here, and Tesla with its new Giga battery factory. So there's the 2021 model, and here's the Model Y. So I'm going to talk more about Tesla and the competition between the old school conglomerate of manufacturing and Tesla. So They have some modeled Cadillac, uh, some older cars. I haven't even heard of the '67 Tornado. If people are car buffs here, sorry I missed some of the chat. So because I'm live streaming from my phone, esoteric. Yeah, it's not an auto show. It's not the auto show. It's the Society of Automotive Engineers. So it's not. They're not advertising new cars. This is automotive engineers. It's mostly suppliers and parts. So it's not that interesting, except for engineers. This is a Grand Sport Riviera. They just have some historic cars, Gran Torino. But it's not. It's not an auto show. It's not meant for the general public. It's meant for engineers. And most of the people here are auto parts suppliers. It's a Thunderbird, and there's a lot more recently. Another Thunderbird, 57. So recently, there's a lot more computer technology. So the show will have more. Like I saw, Cognizant is one of the sponsors. IT. Relations, information technology. I'm going to walk around table by table and gather some of the reading information. So that's some of the stuff that I'm personally interested in is, the connected automobile. There's a lot of trends to go electric. But this is for engineers. It's a business conference. So people here are largely looking to be trained on the latest technology, best practices. So if you're in the automotive business, even just one form of engineering, automotive engineering is not necessarily, because it focuses on the automobile. And I go to a lot of manufacturing conferences, and I mentioned many times, for manufacturing, it's like automotive or bust, because automotive manufacture makes up almost 50% of global manufacture. So if you make a device and you could get it into the automotive supply chain, that's your biggest possibility for sales. If you think like microwaves, refrigerators, various devices. Eitan, good to see you. Eitan, if you're there, I think I'm gonna be in Norwin's tonight, and we're gonna be talking about the Chinese or Asian Jewish competition in America in relationship to that Kaufman article and tablet, and maybe the Ron Ooms article. So I think Norman said 10 o'clock tonight, Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific time. But automotive engineering, you think like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, which might be electrical engineering, the various forms of engineering that might chemical, metallurgic, geological, computer, which focuses on a specific type of science. Automotive engineering incorporates most of the various types of sciences, because the goal of automotive engineering is to make the automobile. And obviously the automobile historically is based upon combustion and thermodynamics. These days electrical, but the modern automobile, like I usually go to Automotive Testing Expo, Foam Expo. So there's basically the convergence of almost all forms of engineering. You have material sciences for making the most useful materials to go into the automobile, for vibrations, heat, electrical, the various conditions. Then you have the combustion cycle for the engine, and fuel efficiency, burning, and mileage, and the various factors that go into the fact that there's a combustion engine inside the automobile. You have all the various systems, like I have my evolution debate coming up. I'm talking about biological systems like the immune system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the endocrine system, the reproductive system, so on and so on. So the automobile has multiple systems. You have the engine that feeds really everything in the car, but mostly the transmission. And the transmission, uh, largely just spins the tires. So, like the chassis, the connection from the automobile, from the engine to spinning the tires. Then you have things obviously like the brakes and the gear shift, transmission. Um, but there's countless systems in the car. There's air conditioning. But nowadays the car itself is a computer. So, I stream every year the big another big conference, the Automotive Testing Expo, and all of that is just devices to test systems in the automobile. They also have the battery show, but the car itself is a central process computer since I think even the 80s, definitely the 90s. For the last like 30 years, all computers have a central processor, and there's feedback mechanisms. There's testing regulation that feeds into a computer. So when you go to the auto shop, um, they could plug your car into the computer. They could plug their device into your car's computer, and the cars will feedback how the various elements within the car are running. That was required in automobiles, I think, since the 90s, that all cars have that. So there's a large amount of computer technology. Every component in the car is connected to some sort of sensor, reader, computer that controls it, that goes into the central processor. And then more recently, you have interconnectedness. So, the moving direction of driverless vehicles and electric vehicles. So I mentioned, the big thing historically with automobiles has been combustion. So that might actually be the new Mustang. So someone was mentioned, the Jim Esoteric, the Mustang. They actually might be giving test drives. So I don't know if that's the 2024 Mustang. It might be. So if you are in Metro Detroit, it could be you could actually come and test drive the Mustang. I'm not going to do it, but it could be I could actually sign up, get in line, and test drive the new Mustang. I'm not that much of a automobile guy. It's not what I'm going to do. I'm more interested in the technology. Hey, John. It's not that loud here, so you could hear. And I don't know if you could tell. Is that the new Mustang? In 5.0. I'm not sure. If you're a new Mustang guy, but that's more a gimmick. Saying because it's a conference, Ford or all the companies are here, so they might offer a chance to test drive or see something, but it's not the point of the conference. I don't know if that's a Hummer. I know they discontinued the Hummer, so I'm not sure if it's the Hummer EV. So that's a little interesting, the Hummer there. I'm not a big car guy like that, so like John, like Mob Tube or something. I don't really know like the names of mafia people or crime families. More the generic science of sociology. So same with cars. Like I don't really know the latest models of cars or the specifics. I'm more the general engineering. So one of the key points I wanted to talk about was the interconnected, the computers. I mentioned, even for decades, everything has been computerized, the control system within a central processor. Now that has changed. Oh, so back to first the electrical. So, some people are claiming that everything's basically going to be electric by 2032, less than 10 years. And, you're seeing more and more electric. They're trying to phase out. And the earlier predictions is, I covered on my channel, by 2050, they're expecting that there's basically not going to be any more gas automobiles. Everything will be electric by 2050. So that's almost 30 years away. However, a decade from now, 2032, they expect that the vast majority, 90% of the vehicles on the road, at least in developed countries will be electric, the phase out, or at least of new cars being sold. That by 2032, over 90%, or maybe even they said all cars being sold will be electric. So there's definitely the phase out of gas. Tesla's way ahead of the game in terms of electric, although all of the companies are moving towards electric. And electric is more in line with than combustion with computerized connected systems. So the big directions are driverless and electric. Electric, the main thing, because all car companies are trying to shift all models, every single popular model, to electric. So you're definitely going to see that over the next decade. That basically every gas car is going to be phased out over the next decade. All the models that continue and make it will have to be electrified in some form, and unlikely to be dual systems that have gas and electric, to be completely phased out in new cars. I think the Biden administration is saying in a decade. Connected cars and driverless cars not as important as electrical cars. So most of the dealings with connected vehicles is for safety, and to have safety systems, to have cars talking with each other, safety overrides for like automatic braking or warning people to help their drive. Hey Mohi, been a while. Well, those cars over there were all electric. Although, at this point, the majority of car production is not electric. Less than like 10% of automobile production globally now is electric. So the focus on the newer models is electric. So the cars over there, I was just showing, like the Hummer, the Cadillac, are all electric because those are the future models. And, Society of Automotive Engineers are mostly focusing on production of new models. So, so electric is a big deal because engineers build new cars. However, most people don't drive new cars. I think even the majority of people purchase used cars, not new cars. And there's a lot of economic considerations. Electric cars are more expensive, and various things. So I'm eventually going to comment on China and Tesla. So you notice like less, even you see a handful of Chinese companies, but the global supply chain has changed, and the deterioration of relations between the U.S. and China is leading more to direct competition in terms of supply. But China's not a big automobile maker, but they're big on the supply chain within other elements. But just to finish the point about connected technologies. So one of the big things in automotive engineering is connected vehicles, which will eventually lead into driverless vehicles. And it's unclear, there's no clear roadmap for the implementation of driverless vehicles, when they're going to come, as opposed to electric vehicles. But it's a big direction in technology. A lot of people want to incorporate the communications technology. So the state of the technology. So there's certain things like what the technology available is versus external pressures. So to go electric is not necessarily because of the state of technology. It's external pressures of oil and gas prices and pollution. So it's not necessarily because the battery technology, electric technology is so good that cars are going electric. It's the external pressure of oil, gas dependence, and environmental damage. as opposed to new technology in driverless vehicle in connected vehicles. That's the question. Okay, there's this new technology. How could it affect the automobile? And if you can make a better automobile, that's the capitalistic demands. People are going to want to buy and purchase and use the. Oh, so here they have the tabs of what these ones are. So, as opposed to electric, where there's external demand, oil prices, and pollution, the driverless and connected vehicle is just the implementation of new technology for the automobile, which through regular capitalism, supply and demand, just what's cool or useful to be implemented into the car. There's some consideration of safety. So like government regulations, even just generic, the 1962 Studebaker, GT Hawk 1962 Studebaker here. And you have the 1965 Buick Riviera, 1967 Oldsmobile Toronado, 2023 Cadillac there, at the end. And let me see if they have on the other side the listing of these cars, because people want to look at cars. They don't want to see like the supply chains, like the auto show, which I think was a few months ago. They had the auto show where they showed the latest vehicles, and that uses this whole hall, and it's packed out. And your average people go, people that are looking, to buy cars, or just regular people that want to see the cars on display. As we're here, basically only automotive engineers, a handful of science geeks, or people like Duvid, but almost everybody here is here because they're part of the automotive business. And so they don't even have a label. So it looks like you could actually get into these vehicles and see the inside, and they have the technicians. So, the Rivian. So, it looks like they even, will allow you to get into these vehicles and look and see the latest. So this is the newest Cadillac Lyric 450e. I don't know if anyone in the chat is familiar with the latest Cadillac, but it's probably here because of technological. So if they're showing it here, they're here to demonstrate, not like regular to people who are looking to buy a car, but they're trying to demonstrate technological advances. So the person here is, they're allowing people to get in and show off. So it's not because they're trying to sell the car, it's because they're trying to demonstrate the latest technological advances. So I guess this, I don't know if this is a Hyundai or the Ioniq 6. I don't know if Ioniq 6 is a type of Hyundai, if that's the Hyundai symbol, or if it's different than the Hyundai symbol, it's a different company, the Ioniq 6. So I'm not familiar with this type of car, but so I'm assuming these are here to demonstrate some sort of the latest technological advances. So from an automotive engineering perspective, like there is a shift to more connective technology, computerized, what they call like vehicle-to-vehicle communication. So there's vehicle to information centers, like governmental control and traffic, or various things that would be, so if you're driving and there's vehicle-to-vehicle communication, and that's for your benefit as a driver to understand what's beneficial for traffic reasons, safety reasons, to know what's going on. Oh, so it looks like I just missed the new Mustang. So it looks like someone just got the new ride in the Mustang. So I said, like, I could probably sign up and wait in line to test drive the new Mustang, but I missed it. So I don't know if it's close enough if I could.
That's up to
you'll be able to see what kind it is, or if they're going to reverse. So see Eaton. I'm not sure if esoteric, if you can see if the GT, if you have enough information, if you know enough to know uh, what kind that is, or if it's backing up. I don't even know if it's driverless or if the driver's doing that. So I don't know if it's the person. I mean, it could be that it's driverless. I mean, there's definitely a person in there. No, he's the one doing this, so it looks like you're going to get a good chance to see up close. Maybe even I'll be able to get a clip in the interior. My dad actually had a 5.0 in like 1988, and so let me see if he's getting out. This guy.
Oh, my wife's calling me right now. You mind if I take this? Thank you.
Okay, so I got up there. So esoterically they get to see. So if you're happy. So I don't know. I have no idea what it didn't say clearly what the model is. I'm not sure if they have a pamphlet saying what it is here. I could probably ask somebody, but or look into it. If advanced driver training. Okay, so I'm probably going to sign off soon, and I'm going to walk table to table and pick up some reading material, and I'm probably not going to come back. It's not that interesting. You know, so like the seminar is actually expensive. It's like $1,000 to sign up and go to the classes. So the expo is kind of weak. They have some things on display, like the latest car seats and some of the, cars, and the old car, classic luxury car display was kind of cool. But it's not particularly interesting. The expo is not all that exciting. I think a week and a half, 2 weeks from now is another conference in May. So there's more engineering conferences going. Unfortunately I missed the Siemens conference. It was on Passover last week, and that was a really good one. So unfortunate to miss that. So I'm going to pick up some of the reading material, and I'll save it for a different time, the discussion of Tesla versus the other companies, and the direction of advancements in technology, Tesla versus possibly Society of Automotive Manufacturing, where Tesla may not be an active member of the Society of Automotive Engineers, and also the global supply chain, and God forbid possible problems with China. So the show actually looks smaller this year. But with that, I'm going to sign off. God bless, and have a great week.